Welcome back to the Go M.A.D podcast. I'm your host, Christopher. Once again, I want to thank each and every one of you guys for tuning in and for listening to this podcast. Really quick, I just want to mention if you're interested and you want to get any of this equipment that I have, if you want to learn where I get all my equipment, whether it's my camera or the microphone that I'm using or any of the cables, anything like that, I have a link in my description for all of that. Whether you're listening to this on Apple Podcasts or on Spotify, or if you're just watching this, in all descriptions, you can look at the details and you'll see everything, all the links there attached, and you can get into that. And if you purchase anything or make any kind of purchase through those links, it helps me out. And it helps the podcast grow. So that would be awesome. And I just once again just want to thank you guys for supporting the podcast, for listening in, for tuning in. And you guys know that I aim to just be my best so that I can help you guys be your best. And together we can all make a difference. And I'm really thankful for each and every one of you. And you know who you are. I try my best to reach out to you guys separately and just thank you guys because I'm really grateful for you guys. Especially in this season. The last few days after last week's episode, which you guys should definitely listen to, I had so much fun, taking notes, recording, and all of that stuff. So I really encourage you guys to check that out. And I've been just thinking of like different things that's been going on in my life and kind of like taking a step back. And I was noticing. And it was just a thought that came to my mind. And I knew immediately that was what I wanted to talk about. Because I would go through like social media and like I listen to different kinds of podcasts. I watch different kinds of, influencers, different kinds of people, whether it's on YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, whatever the case may be. And I noticed like I started thinking about those people. And there was one specific person. Shout out to Danny Loprior. For those who watch the Basement Yard podcast, he was on there and he's doing his own thing and he started a podcast on mental health, and I think that's so powerful. And I remember watching that very first episode, his very first episode that he released, and I watched that. He was giving his own story of everything and the purpose and why he wanted to do it. And he was just mentioning the journey that he's been on and how he's been making videos and stuff like that and growing that area of his life for almost 10 years. And another podcast that I listened to, the same thing, that they were just talking about different things. And that conversation came up on how long they've been, doing this, making videos, so on and so forth. And they themselves said 10 years. And I like, it came up to my mind. I was thinking, I was like, I didn't know 10 years ago, I did not know any of this stuff. I didn't know any of these people. And just now I'm seeing them. Just now I'm engaging in their content. Just now I'm enjoying and receiving what those people create, whether it's videos on YouTube or it's podcasts on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, or, going through social media and seeing all these different businesses that are being created. And one thing came to my mind, one thought. And that was that all great things, greatness overall takes time. And that's exactly what I wanted to dive into today, because that was kind of like a sign towards me, for me to realize that all great things take time. And there's no success. I might not see success right now. And everyone may have different definitions of success. We might not see success right now. So the important thing is that you realize that all great things take time, like they really do. And I needed to hear that myself. And I hope as you're listening to this, maybe it's something that you needed to hear as well, is that all great things take time. So the best thing that you can do is invest in yourself and take this time to do different things to maximize that time that you're waiting. Because if you're in something right now and you're expecting to see results tomorrow, you're expecting to be successful or become the next great thing within the next day, the next week, the next month, the next year, you're gonna face a lot of disappointments. I can tell you that right now. You're gonna face a lot of disappointments. Why? Because you're setting these expectations, and it's okay to, like I said, aim for the best, and you want to make sure that your focus is not just on how do I say this? Just not like on becoming successful right away, because if that's your goal, then you're going to find more failure than success. Your goal should simply be to find your passion, make the best of that area of your passion, and ask yourself, how can you grow, and find ways to grow more and more and more, continually giving your best and being your best throughout that journey, and just continue to grow in that. And eventually you'll see where that gets to. And that's where your focus should be, not on finding results right away, because you won't see results right away. For those who tuned into last week's episode, at the end I mentioned a story um of a specific commander of an army who had a specific disease on his skin, and a prophet told him that if he wanted to be healed, the only way he could be healed is if he went to a river and dipped himself in there 7 times. And I remember, as I was telling that story, how impactful it was, because it's so true that, that when that commander did that, he dipped himself seven times, and after the 7th time was when he finally came out and was clean and healed. And just all of that, you guys can hear more about that in the last week's episode. I won't mention it too much. Basically, what I'm trying to say is that you're going to have to keep trying things out and keep failing, keep like pushing forward without seeing results, because you won't see results. And it won't be until you continue to repeat that and continue to grow, continue to seek more and more, that you'll actually see those results come through. So those are just words that I needed to hear myself, and I hope that those are words that you needed to hear as well. You can literally stop listening if you want to from here on out. Just kidding. I wanted that to stick in your brain, to just, for today's, as you're listening to today's episode, let that stick within you, is that all great things take time. And as I was thinking about these different things, that's what I've been seeing lately in different like celebrities and things, and it really like stuck through to me. So and I noticed that there's in our lives, there's 3 different levels. This life is, it's like a game. And you can take it as like a game where you just have fun, do whatever you want, and then when it's game over, and that's it. Or you could treat this like a game of life where you actually aim to win in the end. And I as I was thinking about these things, I noticed that there's 3 different levels to this game. When I'm thinking about a game, at least classic games, when you're going through a level and you finally finish that level, maybe in that first try you gave it, maybe you weren't able to pass that level and you have to try it again. And when you do try it again, you'll know exactly, whether it's like a shooting game or it's like a story game, whatever it is, what steps where you gotta go to be able to finally pass that level and go to the next one, right? So that knowledge is helping you, and it's adding on to the story, so that later on, those skills that you learn, what you learned in those first levels, it's still existing and it's still present in the future levels that will come up, and you will know, and it adds on to it. So there's 3 specific levels that I want to talk about today that are exactly that these are levels that we are going through, and that just because we move on to the next level, it doesn't mean that the level before doesn't matter anymore, and we don't have to do that anymore. It means that we're adding another level onto our experience, onto this game, onto this experience that we're going through. And the very first level I want to talk about is self-development. So way back, going all the way back to the beginning of my podcast, I shared my testimony, and the very purpose of this podcast, of where I got everything from, which is from Jesus. And Jesus, for me, is one of the greatest leaders I have known, and I'm confident in that. And I want to share that with you guys, because I am a man of faith, and I am unashamed to admit that. And I want you to understand that when I remember reading this story, and for those who know this story, when Jesus first started his ministry, that the very first thing he did was he was baptized, and then he was cleansed, and then he separated himself. And for 40 days and 40 nights, he went without food, without water, without anything. And I'm giving you guys just a brief overview. So once he came back after those 40 days, and he overcame many trials, many temptations, many different things that came up. After that, he started to, all those things that he experienced and learned in that time, he went out to go practice those things. So he went out and took action. He preached, he gave lessons, he taught other people. and he was just spreading a message, growing himself, right, and growing that audience. And then once he started doing that, then he started to work towards the bigger purpose that he had in mind of what he ended up doing. And he knew that in order to get there he needed help, so he started to recruit people. And as he was recruiting those people, he started to invest in them and started to pass on whatever he learned, what he's been practicing already, into other people, and seeing other people what their talents are, what their gifts are, and using them on his team to help grow and help push this same purpose together. And then together he was able to accomplish what he ended up accomplishing. So through this level, I want to go through these three different levels. I want to go through them. The first one is self-development, like I mentioned. And in this level, this is where we separate and find ourselves. Now, if you've been listening to this podcast from the very beginning, you might already have gone through this, and you're already going through this right now. This self-development phase, this level, for me personally, this is an area in my life that took years of developing. That I came to a point where I was struggling and I was going through so many different things. And as I shared in my testimony, like I went through so many different things, and I struggled, and I felt super lonely, and like I didn't have anything, and I really didn't know which way to go. So I finally found my direction, and I realized that I just wanted to get better. So I started reading books. I started looking for books to read. I started watching videos to help encourage me, to help be better. And I started to improve my mental health overall, and I started to improve myself as a person. And I was on that journey literally for like 2 to 3 years. I didn't tell anybody about it. I might have told some people here and there, some books that I've been reading, so on and so forth. I took those years of my life, and I didn't know how long it was going to take. For me, it was just like, this is going to be a normal thing. I'm going to seek to be better overall, no matter how long it takes. And I was on that path for about 2 to 3 years. And it wasn't until after those 2 to 3 years where I felt like I've gotten enough, I've received enough, and I've learned enough, and I've gotten myself to a point where I was finally confident in myself again. And once I got through that, then is when I was able to go on to the next level and start to practice those things. And many of you right now might be going through the same thing, that you're going through this process of developing yourself. So in this first level, I want to ask you, and this is a very popular question. I know I've asked it before, but I want to be able to also attract those who may be listening to this for the first time as well. And I want to ask you, what is your passion? What is your passion right now? And what do you need to seek right now to get better? These are the two questions that are the most important right now. What is the purpose? Like, what is your passion? What do you love to do? And what do you need to do right now to be able to get better? Whether it's reading some books, which I recommend. If you want to find out what books I read, just DM me and I'll send you those books. Look for a book that's related to that passion that you want to grow in. Listen to a podcast like this one, or watch videos, whatever it takes. Look for those resources, and start working on that process. That's for those who might have not started yet. For those that have, that doesn't mean now that you've done this for a while. And everybody knows when you've gotten there. Like, I don't know how else to explain it. I just got to a point where I was like, I want to do more now, because I've done enough studying, I've done enough growing. And for you might have been doing enough of that. You might be at that point where you're like, okay, I've been studying enough, I've been growing enough, I've been getting better. I want to take the next step, and that next level is to practice. And this is the level where you take what you learn and you start to take action. And that's exactly what I was doing. That once I had all this information that I learned and everything that I knew, I started to take action on it. And how did I do that? I kind of shifted my perspective now from the books that I was reading that was geared more towards me getting better. And I started to look for books where I can help others and kind of show others how to be better as well, based on what I have learned, based on what I have experienced. So I started to study those things, and I was fortunate enough to have, and I was blessed enough to have my own group where, my own study group that I would go on, and I would, be the one that was leading them and help them grow. So that was kind of like my team. And that was a team that I worked on developing, one-on-one, and I was helping them by showing them what I learned and helping them grow as well, help them to see what I was able to see. And that's the action that I took, because I realized that I wanted to now pass this on to others, because I want you to realize something, and I mentioned this before, that it doesn't matter how much you know. All right. Like people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. That's a quote that I heard from John Maxwell, that people really don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. So you need to invest in other people, and you need to put your lessons into practice. So shift your mindset and ask yourself, how can you grow more today? How can you apply what you have been learning based on your passion, based on the things that you have been growing in now? If you're following this podcast, or if you're in a phase, or if you're in this level where you have felt like you've received enough information and now you want to move on to the next step, ask yourself, what can you do right now? How can you apply what you have learned? How can you apply these lessons that you've been listening to? How can you apply that today and take action on it? How can you shift that to apply that to other people's life? Maybe your life has been turned around, and now take advantage of that by showing others who might be going through the same, might be struggling through the same things, and be a testimony for them, be a representative for them, to be like, hey, I went through this. This is how I was able to get better, and this is how you can get better as well, if this works for you as well. Be that person. You don't need to be anyone perfect. None of us are perfect. No matter who you talk to, not me, not you that's listening, not the next person that you feel like you might want to help. No one is perfect. So let that sink in and let that stay with you, that no one is perfect. The best thing that you can do is help everyone get as close to that as possible, as you yourself are working towards getting close to that as possible. So practice and put that into practice. Those are the things that I was doing. So the final level, the third level, and this is a level that I'm still working on myself as well. And like I said, the past two levels, the first one being self-development, the second one being practicing. Like I said, this isn't me saying that I stopped doing those things. I'm still doing those things. I'm still growing myself. I'm still learning new things. I'm still seeking new resources. And as I seek those things, I'm putting them into practice. I'm seeking ways to take action. I'm seeking ways to invest in other people. I'm seeking ways to be there for other people, help them grow, be of value to them, so that when they hear me, when they hear me talk to them, they know that I'm here to help them be at their best. So the third level is growing your team. And if I go back to Jesus, well, in this story that I was mentioning, once he was practicing what he preached, once he was teaching others enough and spreading a message and helping others, he got to a point where he's like, all right, I need people in my life, because I need these people to help carry out what I will do. Because we need to realize that we're not going to be here forever. So our mindset needs to be like, who do I have by my side, or who do I need to look for to be there, to be able to carry out our purpose, to carry out our vision, what we see, and who believes in it. And you need to find those people that will help you grow and carry out your purpose. And that's why I want to ask you guys two questions. I want to ask you, who have you invested in, or who do you need to invest in? Think about that really quick. Who have you invested in, or who do you need to invest in? Because I don't know how many times I need to say this. You will not be able to do this alone. I realized this myself today as I was recording this, that I was, like you guys know, I do most of the things here on the podcast myself. I don't like to wait for other people. Sometimes I seek out help, and not many people are available, so I do things mostly myself. And even in doing that, like, it takes a lot of time to prepare all of these things on my own, set up, put everything away, so on and so forth, editing and all of that. So I remember literally, it's so funny because I was literally, taking like test shots, because since I don't have someone like setting up the equipment or like being able to prepare the angle for me, I have to like record, come over here, test, and then stop, and then see how it is, and then come back and forth. So I did that. I did that like 6 times. And as I was doing that, I remember sitting down and in one of my, practice shots, I was saying, I was like, yeah, I need help. I'm human. So I remember I was saying, I was like, I need help. And having someone there who maybe their passion might be this or their passion might be so on and so forth. Like, I need help, because you need those people by your side. And doesn't matter who it is. Think of the most successful people you might know right now, or whatever celebrity you might know, whoever the case may be. They have someone that was by their side, someone that helped them get there. So you need someone. I need you to realize that right now, that, you can start off this journey on your own, because it is going to take you working in secret, working behind closed doors, working behind the curtains on yourself, not boasting about yourself, not boasting your growth or being prideful of how great you are. It's going to take you being silent for a while and working on yourself on your own and building yourself. And eventually you will get to a point where you realize you will need help. And from a distance, I can tell you, I am here for you to provide you the encouragement. If you don't have a cheerleader, if you don't have that encourager or that person to sharpen you, my goal is to be that for you. If you don't have one, then you found one. Now you need to find other people. Now you need to find other people who are intentionally, will help you be better. Physical people, friends, that are there to help you be better. And I noticed that people grow because their people grow. And I noticed that it stood out to me, because like I noticed different celebrities and stuff that, they have a specific circle of people, and they invest in those people. They're all with each other. They're all growing. They're all doing the same things, aiming towards the same things. And when you have that circle of people that they're all growing, and you're investing them and helping them grow, like, that's when you grow, is when you invest in other people and you help them grow. So who are you investing in right now? Who are you valuing right now? Who are you spreading influence to, helping them grow? Who are you reaching out to and asking them, hey, what's your passion? What do you love to do? How can I help with that? What can I do to help you in that? And how can I help you, be better? And you need to ask yourself right now, in whatever your passion is, whatever you're working on right now and how you're growing, what will you need as a team and resources to grow? Like, what will you need in order to grow? What kind of resources do you think you will need in order to get better? What kind of team do you think you can develop that can help fill these spots? Like, who can you think of that can fill these spots? Go out and reach out to them. And you need to ask yourself, who will you let stretch your influence and your purpose? Like, who are you willing to let inside your circle stretch your influence, stretch your purpose, stretch your vision, so that in case anything were to happen right now and you move on to the next life, move on to the next phase, and whether you die, whatever, because we're all going to die, will you be certain that there's someone out there that will carry out your purpose? Think about that. Like, that's something that I had to ask myself. That was like, whoa. That's why I try my best to value others, reach out to others, be there for others. I might not be available all the time. So what I try my best to do is know that I'm there for them when I can, and that they understand that I'm here to encourage them, to sharpen them, that I'm interested in their passion, that I'm interested in their growth, and that they can see that. And that's what you need to do today, is to find those people and grow your team. In this season, it's so important that now that you got a flow going, if you've been following along with the other seasons, now that you got this flow going and you're starting to be consistent and really moving forward, now you got to work on growing that team and bringing those people on you, those resources that will help you be even better. Because in order for you to be successful, you need the greatest of people around you to help you get there as well. So I hope this has impacted you guys. If this is something that has impacted you, don't be afraid to share. Even give me a thumbs up. Send me a thumbs up and be like, I listened and I thought this was awesome. Let me know what you guys think of the podcast. Let me know what you think. If you enjoy what you hear, what would you like to hear? Let me know if you listened, what you liked about it, what you didn't like about it, what you hope to improve in the future. Share all of that with me, because I receive all of that and want to be better. You guys can follow me on Go M.A.D official on Instagram, or my Instagram page at Chris Go M.A.D, on Twitter Crisito Ismad, or my Facebook page at Go M.A.D official. And as we continue to invest in ourselves, guys, help ourselves grow, be our very best, so that we can go out and show others how to do the same. We can all go M.A.D. I'll catch you guys in the next one.